order, 7:02 p.m. If everyone can please rise to salute our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here.
Also with us, our municipal clerk, Brianna Calabro, and Robert Rossmeisel, our attorney this evening. This is a meeting called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Law. Adequate notice of this meeting was advertised in the Herald News on December 23rd, 2018. Copies were provided to the local news media and posted here at Borough Hall. And on our agenda, we have no presentations. We have no early executive session. And before I continue, we have Scouts with us this evening. Hi guys, how are you? So what level are we here? What are we, Scout-wise? So one of your requirements to see government meeting and all that? Hope you have some tough questions. Because these ladies will. Welcome, guys. Non-agenda, there are 2 items. Originally, council was copied on a report showing 3, but there's only 2. One is a discussion regarding the purchase of a new garbage truck. The second is accepting a library board resignation and filling that seat with a new member. Just so the council knows, the third was a resolution to purchase our new police car for 2019, but we couldn't get the data we needed to prepare the resolution, so that can be held till our next meeting. And the reason it's on early, just so everyone knows, as you know, we normally order police cars April-ish. They're about the least through Lakeland Bank we use because their financing is less than Ford Motor Credit. We were informed that State Cranford Co-op, who has their co-op with buyer Ford, they have 3 or 4 vehicles already ready, okay? And so we want to take advantage of that to receive them within a few weeks versus having to wait till October or November to obtain the vehicle. So we were sure today that they'll hold up the vehicle, and then once all the VIN number and final pricing is all in place, it'll be on our next meeting agenda. The chief is working with Bree on getting that data. So that's not on a non-agenda. So again, it's discussion on the garbage truck and the library situation. With that said, I need a motion for early public comment for agenda items. Who makes that motion, please? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to speak to an agenda item, please come on up. Yes, now's the time.
First one, I just want to find out what the new sick leave policy is.
The new sick leave policy, yes. We are just cleaning up confusion because it's like different everywhere. It's like one policy manual said one thing, DBA, white collar, blue collar, they're kind of a little different. So what it's changing is the old way was that it's always been an employee gets 15 sick days. And at the end of the year, an employee was always able to get paid for a maximum of 6 days, and then 9 would go to the retirement bank. But then there was weird language that then put 15 into a terminal leave bank. Okay? So it's convoluted because John's on GovOps and we've had this discussion. They've already repaid for 6. Okay? So 9 went to the bank. That makes sense for retirement. And the terminal really getting extra days. So what we're doing is same thing, 15 days. The most you can get paid for is 6, but we're eliminating the terminal bank. So now there's going to be one bank called Retirement Sick Leave Bank, and just 9 days are going to that bank. Any employee who had the 2 banks aren't losing days, they're going to get a combined bank into one now. So it was confusing because nowhere was anything defined as terminal, what terminal meant. The bank was defined in 2 contracts, they were limited. And it's going to be one bank, sick retirement, you get paid 6 max, and 9 go in. So if the person at the end of the year has 4 days, they can get paid for all 4, and nothing goes in the bank. They can get paid for 2 go in the bank, or they can get paid for nothing and bank all 4 if they choose to. So it really is just cleaning up confusing language and limiting it to one bank for staff.
Wasn't there a law passed a couple of years ago where
Buyout?
yeah,
Yeah,
you could only have
anyone hired after May 1st, 2010, capped a $15,000 buyout. That language is already in our manual. It's already in all the contracts. So yeah, that doesn't change.
so regardless of how many sick days they have, it's still taxed.
Correct. But they would be able to use the sick days, God forbid somebody had a serious illness.
And I guess you're going to discuss the borough land, all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing crazy on that one. Good. Anyone else to an agenda item? Seeing no one, motion to close. All in favor?
Aye.
Reports. Rob, you have anything for us this evening?
Nothing for the public portion.
Thank you, sir. And Bree, anything this evening? Any council member have a report, committee report, et cetera?
Yes. Okay. All right. GovOps committee, as John was saying, we've been meeting pretty much on a regular basis with different departments. Our goal for this year is we're meeting 2 times a month to talk about with different departments, just to make sure if there's any questions that we might have to go back to the department, really knowing how they operate fully. It's more informative. We met with the DPW for a few hours. We met with finance. We met with John yesterday. We talked about several different things. Just to see what direction we're going, so we're all kind of on top of things. One thing that is coming back as I think a recommendation from GovOps is our other committees, shared service committees, anything that pertains to that those committees start asking questions to John, especially like the shared services, so we're all on board, so they can come back and make the recommendations to the whole council of what we should do, what we shouldn't do, and then we can discuss it as a whole. So we think we'll be more informative as we start meeting with our committees all the time versus maybe 2 or 3 times a year. So our goal is 2 times a month. We just rotated amongst departments, so we know what's going on throughout the borough.
Yeah, I'm on the Rose Advisory Board.
Yeah.
That's actually the same list of needs for, like, and actually they had a question in the union all the time. I couldn't get that.
Again, they're advisory, so
A lot of discussion. Right. Discussion around the leisure conversation we had here on the agenda as well. So
there was a wet football season, so drainage is an issue, but the season's been tough for that.
So one of the concepts that we thought of, and then that's what I passed it on, is there any type of historical designation that would allow us to get more grants? So something related to community public interest.
Sure, I'll answer that question right now. The answer is, if you want to try and get the Leisure Field to be declared a National Historic Site, that's something the borough can look to do. Most of the historic money are low interest loans versus free money, but there are some grants. The problem is, in my opinion, you can explore it, is that once you declare it National Historic, you have trouble doing any changes to it. You have to use their cement, their clay, their whatever.
Got to bring it back to the way it was, not the way it is.
It really stifles you going forward.
It's very limiting.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can get you details, but
Yeah, it would be good to bring it
it
back.
really limits it. Like, for example, which would never happen because it's in the floodplain, but let's say someday you wanted to put turf down there, which, again, for the record, will never happen because it's part of the floodplain. I'm just giving this example. You wouldn't be able to do it because National Historic Preservation would block it. So, for example. Right. So, it does stifle you. So again, no disrespect to the road, we appreciate all they do. Part of the function is for them to gather this information, so we should make that clear, and I will, I just see what it came in.
Yeah.
So I'll respond to the minutes and say, you know, if you read the ordinances, it's really their function to price, solicit, and all that.
Okay, all right. Something about, the ice rink and the tennis courts, but the benches outside, it's open up. The stage and walking through the stage with the tennis, we could put on plywood or some sort of a mat over the house and park on that.
Well, again, I have two answers to that. They should wear skate guards, that's to your point. You can look at something, well, you should, if you're gonna walk in the skates, not on ice, you put a skate guard on. But we can consider it hard, but remember, this is short term. The ice skating rink on the tennis court is only because slow parking on the reservation. The goal is to put it there. That same problem exists, if you deal with it.
I actually talked to Alex, and he actually suggested bringing in some of the benches from all around town. Inside the bench, so we don't have to put it on outside. So that was a and something about poison ivy by
Yeah.
Oakwood.
Although I got my prices ready, which intended to do last year, didn't have the funding, that's over $20,000 to do Oakwood Lake, the laser fence line, in left field, the big field, and the animal shelter. So probably enough spraying, removing roots, and go again, I think close to 20 grand, so down the short. I already have the proposal from last year, so let's share the video. And then go ahead and the vote for do this, because I do that.
The next meeting is on the 12th.
February 12th at 8 p.m. Good, thank you, Rich. Yeah, is your mic on?
It was running
Okay.
away, sorry about that.
Okay. Anyone else have anything?
I do for the garden.
Yes.
The plots are now open for the plot holders from last year, and next week they will open up to the public what we have left.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay, item 10. I need a motion for resolution 2019 1.96 through 1.107. Who makes that motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Costa,
Yes.
Tomato,
Yes.
Delripa,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
Thank you. We have no pending items. Introduction of new business. I need a motion for resolution 2019 1.108. Payment of the bills. Who makes that motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Tomato,
Yes, except for PO 18-1880 and 19-0044. It's item 01463. Yes, for everything.
Delripa,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
Costa,
Yes.
Thank you. Item B, I need a resolution 2019 1.109, approving the Lakeland Bank contract. First, let me have a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, we didn't have the contract at the time of reorg. This is our bank, the borough uses them every year. They offer us great rates, they offer us payroll services at no additional charge, so just renewing that contract. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Delripa,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
Costa,
Yes.
Tomato,
Yes.
Thank you. Item C, I need a motion for resolution 2019 1.110, that works. Again, providing for a combination of certain bond ordinances and a note sale. So who makes that motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Just for housekeeping, we have notes that are due, so we're rolling them to permanent bonds, and then we have notes that were issued, and we're having a sale to generate the cash on those notes. So it's not new debt, it's existing debt that we're funding at this time. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Hudson,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
Costa,
Yes.
Tomato,
Yes.
Delripa,
Yes.
Item D, the selling of borough land. I put this on here to bring the council up to speed on this issue. As you know, when someone doesn't pay their taxes, we have a tax sale, usually in December. And 9 out of 10 times a third party buys that tax lien, charges interest to whomever owns the property, and 9 out of 10 times that landowner redeems that to retain the ownership of the property, pays that third party company a lot of interest, and can keep their property. There are times when no one buys the tax sale at its sale, okay? So over the years in Bloomingdale, that accumulated to about 15 pieces of property that just sat idle for the longest time. Matter of fact, both councilwomen will remember, this goes back to Joe McMahon days, when they tried to foreclose so the borough became the owner. So nobody bought the tax lien, so the borough now owns that tax lien, okay? And if the landowner doesn't come to redeem and pay the borough what they owe, the borough can then foreclose. It's a long process, it's like 16 months after the tax sale, and then that process is another 12 months and so on. So a couple of years ago, there was about 15 parcels that was always on the agenda to foreclose in Joe's days, even Mark's days, and then it was always out there, and then somehow a firm, at our direction, took the lead and really got aggressive and foreclosed on these. So I have in my office an inventory of all these lands. Most are undersized lots, they're postage stamps or small, and the plan is to gradually approach contiguous landowners to see if there's interested, if they want, excuse me, if they want to buy it, to adjoin it to your lot. But there's tons of rules. If there's other contiguous landowners, you have to get them to opt out, that they don't want it. Otherwise, you got to publicly bid the land, and anyone can bid on it. So I'm going through the inventory, and I'm hoping soon to bring to your attention various lots that I may have interested people in. Then the governing body would have to take action on selling those if the governing body chose to do so. There are some that may have potential for development. There are, matter of fact, the one that does it, besides the 15 we already finished, there's about another 10 that I'm about 3-4 weeks away from final foreclosure, and then we'll have 10 more. And like I said, we'll inventory those and start looking to sell them. The one that's not yet foreclosed might have potential. It's Glade Road, off of Glenwald Ave. And my goal there is, if ideally if you could sell a little land to help pay for improvements, because the poor residents who live on Glade Road, I don't know if you've ever been back there, it's terrible. It's an unfinished road. It's a nightmare, but it's not a borough owned. I get calls often on residents who live there saying, "Oh, my road, you got to fix it." No, the borough doesn't own it. The minute we own it, now we can make improvements like paved road, etc. But I'm hoping to get revenue maybe, because there might be 2 lots in that area to look to subdivide and maybe sell and help offset some of that cost. So that's really it. I just wanted to bring you up to speed and talk about it. And when there's a negotiation, I'll bring it to the governing body. I'll always go to the tax assessor, get value first, and see if there's interest for the governing body to start selling these. Now, the main reason, this is very interesting, that why we don't want these sitting out there unforeclosed is because while they're still on the tax rolls, the borough is paying the Board of Ed share of that. So for example, on the first 15 that we foreclosed on, the borough is paying close to 20 grand a year in taxes on property that we're holding a lien on. But the minute we foreclose, we don't pay that tax anymore. Excuse me?
Not just for that.
No, just Board of Ed. It's just Board of Ed. But the minute we foreclose, it's public land. You don't pay tax on it. So the foreclosure we did already has been saving us 15 grand for the last couple of years. It was like 18 and change. And then the new ones, it's about the same thing, about $20,000. So that's the motivation to clean up, the inventory, but then look to put it back in the tax rolls. And that's the motivation, the goal that I'll bring you as I come up with them, okay? And that's really why that was on the agenda, okay? Because I'm starting to get aggressive with making those contacts, so I think we'll be seeing some very soon that I'll bring to your attention. That answer your question? Okay. The next item is our annual Passaic County Open Space Recreation Grant application. I believe March 18th is the deadline. We have to have a public hearing, adopt a formal resolution in February to apply. And I put on the agenda discussion. because in what we've discussed over the years, what's next is, remember, the last one we got was Bogue Ponds Basketball Court, which will be done in 2019. This year, always on my radar, was the tennis courts, applying to redo the tennis courts. And then I added the DeLazier drainage because of this wet football season in soccer. The field was trashed by August because it was a muddy mess. Considering doing the same thing we did at Walter T. Bergen with some good underground drainage to try to help that situation. I support the tennis court because that hasn't been touched since the 70s, and it is used, and I think it's a hazard, and that should be our application this year. But I put it out to the governing body for discussion. Again, unless you have something else.
We can only apply for one thing.
One thing. Otherwise, you compete against yourself. We did two one time, twice, and we only got one. So I would say, have the engineer do a spec. I'm anticipating our normal $100,000 that we get from the county and apply for restoration of the tennis court. But I want direction because I got to get that ball rolling and get a public advertisement and a public hearing and an application done.
I would shoot for DeLazier. That's my.
What gets more use?
Oh, DeLazier gets more use, but DeLazier's only problem on a wet season. So I've never had a problem. I mean, DeLazier's warm because it's
tennis
used.
courts get used,
Oh, absolutely.
and there's a lot of trip hazards in it.
There's a lot of
It's
hazards.
cracking, it's
Right.
way over.
Yeah, that's why I'm leaning towards tennis court. DeLazier needs it, but again, if you have a dry season, you're not going to have an issue. It's not like Walter T. that was wet on a dry day, because on a dry day, DeLazier's dry.
The other side,
On a wet day.
The drain too of the laser. It's wet all around.
Well, in Capitol this year, we're going to have a project, on the behind the announcement booth, we have that culvert that doesn't drain properly. And in Capitol, I'm going to bring to the council the full redesign of that, and that's where ultimately the water would go someday when we do drainage.
It's something similar to Toronto.
Yes, and Boston there, because you get drainage now from, the parking lot runoff from the yards, and it just sits there and needs a little TLC there, but ultimately go into that drainage point. Not the brook side, the drainage pit side, behind the announcement booth.
Right, because even with the wetness that was there,
The field drains.
right, I mean, it's gotten a little flat, it just sort of needs a little reshaping.
Well, which was done before they winterized. They
Right,
crowned it and
exactly. So, it's
winterized it.
entirely possible we won't have nearly that much.
But you are right, with the weather that we had this year, even other fields around us
Yeah, I mean,
got torn apart.
Yeah.
It wasn't just.
They all did.
we had flooding issues in town we never had before, calls from residents who had lived there since the 50s, never had water in their basement kind of things,
That's on Main Street.
Whereas,
Nothing on Main Street.
I mean, my view is DeLazier might be better this year than last year, whereas obviously the tennis courts aren't going to improve on their own.
Right. So, again, I'm just to get a consensus so I can move forward. So you're thinking tennis court?
Yeah, that's fine.
Councilman Yazdi?
When would we get the money and when can we start?
This would be for a 2020 project.
2020.
Like we're doing 18's application project, Bogue basketball, in 19. 17 was DeLazier, but it didn't get done in 19. It didn't get done in 18. So we'll be doing two basketball courts in 19. DeLazier and Bogue, but one was from 18's, as 17's application. So we would apply, we usually get awarded in September, and then we would do this in 20.
I would go to Lakewood. Take care of,
Okay.
drainage first.
Mike, that's the other question, do we have an idea, because I know with Walter T, we had to split it.
Well, based on size, I would compare it to doing one of those sides,
Okay.
which, again, I'm not going to have the engineer do specs until I know what we're doing, so.
I know, I was just trying to get an order of magnitude.
I disagree with DeLazier because if you have a normal precipitation season, you're not going to have the issue, and the tennis court is in more dire need at this stage. John?
I'm a tennis court.
Tennis court?
I'll go tennis court.
Yeah. So, lean in there. Council, if council, and you said DeLazier, right? But let's,
I was on the tennis courts a few months back.
Yeah.
And, I also we were also on DeLazier when it was a disaster.
Right.
So, the tennis courts to me weren't as bad, and we played on them, and I didn't think it was that bad. So if I had to lean, I would lean toward DeLazier just because I saw a little bit more of a need there, and it's so much more used. Not that the tennis courts are not used. We see people there all the time. But I just think the need would be a little bit
it would be
more.
fencing and benches, the whole 9 yards, but I just think there's a hazard with the trip. So it would be 3-2, and just for the record, if Councilman Sandemeyer was here and he went for DeLazier, and I had to break a tie, it would be tennis courts, so. Just so everyone's clear on that. All right, so I'm going to start putting that application together now. Thank you so much. Non-agenda. The first item, we'll do the easier one first. I need a motion to accept the resignation of Lynn Ferrara from the library board.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion, other than thanking Lynn for her years of service? It's a work issue, she could not commit. And then I'm sorry, all in favor?
Aye.
Then I need a motion to appoint Linda Bennett to the library board. Who makes that motion?
So, second.
Discussion? Just so everyone knows, Linda Bennett had run our children's library programs, and she took another position in I think what her career was previously, but she wants to be part of the library, and it's just the timing worked out. She was very excited to serve in this capacity, so it's an asset.
She'll be certainly missed.
She'll be really missed. There's a new Miss Monica, but she'll be doing a great job too. But Linda on the board will be an asset too. And can I have, did I get a motion on that? Sorry. I did, right? So, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Discussion on purchase of a garbage truck. Okay. Inventorying our sanitation vehicles, okay, we did an analysis that they should be replaced every 15 years, thereabouts, depending on condition. So last year we had the intention, in 2017, the DPW put in to replace truck number 7, which was a 2000 with 160,000 miles on it. That was their intention last year. And so we put in the order, we ordered the truck. It turned out that the truck number 6 at the time was also 2000, but remember it had a cracked frame. So that was the one they ended up replacing at the time. We sold that on Gov Deals, for parts. So now, again, we're coming back for a request to replace 7. That was intended to last year, so it's just reversing the order. But what I'm bringing to your attention is that based on what we funded last year for the vehicle, because we did not know state contract pricing when we began that process, we would need to fund the cost of the truck currently under state contract is $181,000 for a new garbage truck. We have enough funding from last year's funding where we'd only have to bond $64,000 for a new truck this year. And the reason I'm bringing it to your attention now is that quote is only good till March 31st, the state contract. So we don't know what the new bids will be, but we do know there'll be more. So again, with timing, I would have you ask me questions, review this, talk to DPW, etc., so that in February we can introduce a bond ordinance, put funding in place at the second meeting, worst case first meeting in March, so we could place this order by March 31st. And we won't take delivery, as you know, until probably October, November, December, but that's the plan. And then we would then sell 7 and rotate the newest one into our backup. We have 4 trucks, 3 are on the road, 1 is backup if one goes down, and the 4th one is used for leaf pickup and all the rest during the course of the year. So the discussion is just to inform you that we would like to move before March 31st to save money, and that I only need to fund $64,000 because we have funding in last year's bond to pay the balance. So are there any questions now? Otherwise, you can do your investigation and then go from there.
I talked about, I didn't go into detail, but he did tell me that the prices would go up.
Yeah, I think the 64,000 he mentioned was the amount we need to fund.
Got it, okay.
Because there's no way they're going up 60. They're not going to go up 40%.
How much is it?
$181,000 is current state contract price.
Ideally, based on needing 4 and then lasting 15 to 20 years,
Right.
we should be buying one every 4 years, right? So this way there's a new
Well, the inventory
rather than
rate.
2 in a row and then having
How much money did you
2 old
left
trucks in
on
a
the
row. 20
Well, we need
years.
64,000, so 120. So we bonded 300. We only spent 180.
So it's 180 to buy one.
Correct. But I only have 120 available. I need 64 to fund it.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do they do like co-ops, like similar to like fire trucks?
Well, this is state contract, so it just says.
That's not what I'm asking.
Do they have co-ops for garbage trucks?
Yeah.
No, it's all only under state contract. Yeah, we utilize co-ops all the time. Oh, a national co-op, like the Texas Galveston one?
Why not?
I'll double check. I believe the answer is no, but I'll double check. Yeah.
Yeah, we should, because pricing can be significantly different.
Yeah, well, it was on the fire apparatus because the difference there, and it was like 60,000 different on the self-contained breathing apparatus, is because the Texas Galveston co-op took our old stuff and gave you wicked credit for it, where state contract didn't take your old stuff. So that was the difference in that self-contained breathing apparatus.
Maybe
But I'll
they'll
explore.
take our old fire, maybe they'll take the old garbage truck.
Old number 7.
But I'll look into it. It's easy enough to do, and we're members of a lot of co-ops. But this is where I am right now.
Are garbage trucks always custom to fit our needs, or is there a company that has leftovers that they weren't right? You know what I mean?
I mean, we don't spec it other than, buying a Kenworth Peterbilt garbage truck of the size.
Well, no, the
we
back
want.
goes to a different vendor versus the front end, because you buy a Peterbilt and then you have the back put on.
Right, but that's all part of state contract, where they split it, it's all one, the vendor's bidding it, where that vendor sends out the back work is still part, you're not paying, it's all part of the bid.
But you're asking, I think I understand what you're asking, like if there's almost like a floor model kind of thing, right?
Kind of like the police car.
Well, that we
We're sitting
I didn't get
there.
into detail on that, that we looked at, that was just a phone call from another DPW superintendent who informed us of buyer having 3 extra police cars, so we're not getting it cheaper, it's just quicker.
I just know if there's a vendor
I
out
will-
there which,
again-
last year's model.
I will explore. I didn't know because they make them to spec. So
That's-
there's
yeah.
nothing sitting on a lot. You don't go buy one off. That's why we don't get it till December. So your question is there one that was made to someone's spec and they didn't take delivery of it?
Well,
I
when we go down to the league, there's a bunch of them sitting there. and
Yeah,
we
it
already
makes you
bought this
wonder,
or
right?
Whatever,
Right.
but if we just buy that one.
Usually they're from a town before
Spec
delivery.
truck.
The stuff you see there are usually already sold, waiting for delivery, and they use it as a display model. But I'll explore the co-op, to Councilwoman Hudson's point, and I'll explore your avenue. But our worst case is what I'm telling you. And just so you know, this is our inventory. We have this 2000 International. We have a 2008 International with 67,000 miles on it. We have a 2013 with 29,000 miles on it. And our new one from last year, 2019 Kenworth with, well, my sheet says 30 miles. Obviously, there's not much more than that because we just took delivery in December. So.
Have we always had 4?
As far as I know, there's one's backup. Yeah. I remember last year we had 2 down. Pompton Lakes lent us one. They helped us out. For a period of time. We were down. We were hurting for a while there. Guys were doubling up routes. So.
Just worried me when you call it a backup. It's really not a backup. It's used for.
It's utilized
Well,
something
it's
else.
their primary use is backup if one goes down, but it's used for other things, primarily leaf pickup. When we're out picking up leaves, our roads guys can be out earlier than garbage guys with that other truck, put it in the hopper, versus having to hump it into dump trucks or pickup trucks.
If everything lasts 20 years, the 2008 should last us another 8 years.
Well, the recommendation from DPW would be once 7's replaced and auctioned off, 5 will become the backup. 5 is a 2008 International, which is in good shape in the garbage truck at this point, blah, 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 2013. So 2028 was their recommendation, that this would make number 9 due to be replaced in between 2023 and 28. And this is from our mechanic, I would make the call when to replace it when it gets closer to the 10-year mark, check the condition of the truck in its current year, and so on. So, that's where we are. So I'll explore those items. If you have questions, you let me know. I would hope to have it on an agenda for introduction in February. Any other comments on that? Okay. At this time, I need a motion for late public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to speak, please come up, state your name and address for the record.
I didn't say that before, when the ladies
I know, that's coming up. Yeah,
Figured everybody knew who I was.
like we don't know.
Under 10, L, the dedication of utility funds, I'm assuming I know what that is, but I just wanted to have you clarify it.
Under 10?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, under
10L,
Consent.
Yeah.
dedication of utility funds.
Oh, right. Last year, we we're doing a 5-year meter replacement plan to go to radio reads on all our meters, okay? And previously, when our ordinance read that when an individual had a meter that was less than 10 years old and it had to be replaced, the resident had to pay the bill. It's $175. The meters are like $240, but the residents were paying $175. So if an individual had a meter that was 6 years old and now we're coming in to replace them all, they were by ordinance getting billed for that. So, and prior to this plan, if they were, there for years, they were getting that extra bill. So what the borough governing body did last year, we increased the service fee on your quarterly bills by $7. We repealed the ordinance of charging the $175 for new meters and charge $7 per quarter, and that is to actually Councilman Costa was adamant about this, that we dedicate that money to pay the bond on the meters that we purchased, because we're doing $125,000 worth of meters a year, and our utilities self-installing those, so it's a 5-year project. And so as people get them, there's no charge anymore, but it's in the quarterly fee of $7 was it, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, $7
Because I had 2 replaced.
previously.
Yeah, I don't know how they both went at the same time, but
Yeah. So that's what that is, to dedicate that money to the funding of that project, so it doesn't just get lost in that shuffle.
okay.
Good, thank you. Anyone else? Before I close public comment, you guys are so quiet over there. Nothing, no questions? Any of you play tennis? No? So what do you tennis court or fixed to laser fields wetness? Or is there something else you like? You're going to tell me skate park or something like that. Right? I knew it.
Yeah, do this tennis court.
Good answer.
There you go.
To my own heart. We've had skate park requests, but it's not a lot lately, and I don't know if it's a big thing anymore. Then we also have a dog park request. I just don't know where to put that. There's not a lot of places to put a dog park. So, leaders, dads, any questions back there? No, you guys are easy. All right.
All sorts of questions from the Boy Scouts.
They're in trouble, weren't they? All right. Well, I hope this fulfills your requirement. And if not, just see Councilman DeMont.
I live in Morse Lake.
Actually, he lives. Yes, sir.
Come on up.
You guys are obviously following some sort of meeting format.
Yes.
That these guys are not aware of.
Okay.
And a couple of them said to me, why do they keep, sometimes it seems like they're voting. Sometimes there's like a roll call.
Right.
Sometimes there's just can I get a second motion?
What I ask you to do whenever you leave, there's agendas outside in the pocket on the wall. Grab them, because then you can see the format, how we do it. But normally I request, it's called Robert's Rules. You follow, there's a book of rules, how do you run a meeting, called Robert Rules. And that's where it tells you when the motion and second and vote. But I normally ask for a roll call when everyone actually individually votes, when it has to do with money, okay, or a change of policy. But normally a generic, like the consent agenda where I moved a bunch of stuff in one motion, that's all like, housekeeping stuff, like we approve to reach out to the county to request to close the road for Little League Parade, Memorial Day, 9/11 walk. I don't need a roll call for that. That's just, all in favor? Yes, and then little things like, these get confusing, tax redemption, someone paid their taxes, we owe them money back or something. So again, those things are easy just to do as a one motion, but when it comes to paying the town's bills, which, what's this bill's list, how much, million something, right?
Just the school bill alone is like,
Yeah.
Like 1.7, just a school bill.
Yeah.
So now you want a specific vote, because someone could have a conflict. Like, for example, just so you guys know, we're borough of Bloomingdale, a borough form of government. So I, as the mayor, I only vote when there's a tie. If it's 3-3, and we're missing Councilman Sandemeyer, but if it's 3-3, that's the only time I vote, okay? But for example, like tonight, on the bills list was a reimbursement to me. I used my credit card to buy plaques for the fireman dinner. And so I would have recused from that. So it gives everyone the opportunity to say yes, but except for this one, so there's no conflict. So that's why on money we tend to do an individual vote. So, but like asking, you want a tennis court, you want this, just give me an idea. Kind of thing. So, does that help?
They should YouTube Robert Rules.
Yeah, that's the gist of it, right?
That's what they're using, Robert Rules.
Right, Robert rules. But seriously, this should be enough. Grab a stack of agendas and you look at them at your next meeting and see, what we did and how we do it. We have public comment. The first public comment, if residents want to get up, it's just for the stuff on the agenda. And then the second one is for anything you want to talk about.
Like this.
Yeah, like
You
this.
guys all have regular jobs, right?
Well, the council does. I do too. But my regular job is full-time mayor. I'm a mayor administrator. But yes, they all work for other companies and a lot of hours a week.
So you guys could be sitting up there and they're just citizens like the rest
Yep.
of us.
Yeah, we all live in town. We all pay taxes. We all had kids in the school at one point or another. I had scouts too. Okay.
Well, thank you very much for having us.
Oh, I'm glad you're here. But seriously, grab an agenda or two and then it'll help you follow that next time. We're still in public comment. Anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close late public comment?
So moved.
D'Amato and Hudson, and all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We do have an executive session, and just so you guys know, we close our meeting and we go into executive session. But this is when we have to talk about like a contract or maybe an employee or something. That's in private, but there's minutes and all that's kept. And once there's no more need for it to be private, then they're released. Okay. So like tonight we have two matters of negotiations, and so we're going to go into executive session, and then we come out, and if there's still public here, and if we're going to take action, the public has an opportunity to speak on that before we take new action, because you can't blindside the public. They have to know everything we're going to do. All right. So at this time, I need a motion to go into late executive session where we do have matters of negotiation. Who makes that motion?
Second.
D'Amato, Yasi, works, and all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Are we
and
likely to have anything?
I don't think so, but you never know. I doubt it very
We
seriously.
usually try and give
But
people a heads up.
public will have an
so they know
opportunity to
whether
speak.
to stay or not.
Governing body schedule, regular meeting, the 5th, work session, the 19th, and March 5th. The work session is first. So motion to go in exec at 7:45. We got Mr. Paul Halkias to the title of mechanic at the Department of Public Works. Who makes that motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Yazdi Del Ripa. Any comment? Roll call, please.
Bessie?
Yes.
Costa?
Yes.
Amato?
Yes.
Delripa?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. And can I have at 9:12 p.m. a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Right.